Well, good afternoon again, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon for the Livernois Streetscape Enhancement groundbreaking. Today's groundbreaking is the culmination of 3 years of conversations and numerous meetings by UDM colleagues and I who have had with government, community, and foundation leaders as we tried to find ways to beautify Livernois Avenue, specifically the area between the Lodge Freeway and 8 Mile. And the reason is obvious. Whenever someone exits the Lodge onto Livernois, their first impression of the Livernois McNichols neighborhood is really not a true picture of this vibrant area, which is home and also workplace to many citizens, businesses, and also our students, our faculty, and our staff. In the fall of 2011, not long after I arrived, the Kresge Foundation connected me with the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation to explore some funding possibilities that could help address some of Livernois Avenue's streetscape shortcomings. After dozens of meetings, numerous phone calls, and a steady stream of emails to many individuals, some who are here right now saying I'm glad that those emails stopped, the first of 5 phases of the Livernois Streetscape is about to begin. And this project really could not have occurred without the collaboration and support of many individuals throughout the city, the state, foundations, nonprofit organizations, local businesses, and most particularly neighbors in this community. I want to thank all of them collectively, but also single out a few special people and also organizations. And first, even though he's not present here today, I want to thank former Mayor Dave Bing for committing city funds that are being used as a substantial portion of the required match for this project. A very special thank you goes to the Kresge Foundation for the tremendous financial and professional contributions that they've also made from the early planning conversations to this implementation stage. Kresge President Rip Rapson, who's not able to join us today because of the Kresge Foundation board meeting, but also program officers Laura Trudeau and Wendy Jackson, who is with us today, devoted a significant amount of their time and also influence in addition to the Kresge Foundation's funds, to assure that the match for this MDOT grant would be met. Thank you also to the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, specifically former President George Jackson, and also DEG staff member and leader Michael Forsythe, who's here today in particular. Michael surveyed the funding possibilities, spent numerous hours developing the proposal for this effort, brought the various funding partners together, and kept the Livernois neighborhood and businesses informed. So I want to thank Michael in particular for his patience and also his perseverance on this project. So Michael, would you wave your hand so everybody can see you? And thank you also to the Michigan Department of Transportation for awarding our partners this $975,000 grant for this first phase of the project. We're happy to have Representative from MDOT, Vince Ranger, who will speak a little while about this particular project. And we want MDOT to know, as well as some of the other state agencies, that we have 4 more phases to go, so we're going to need a whole lot more money, and we'll be coming right back to you, as well as some others. So thank you very much for this first installment of this very important project. And of course, I want to thank a lot of the neighborhoods and also a number of the business people who are here today. We certainly have Ms. Zelene Richards here from the Martin Park Community Association, and also Clara Williams, who's president of the Martin Park Community Association, who have also been very, very helpful, and a number of other neighbors in the 12th Precinct and other nearby groups. So I want to thank them very much for their help, and they'll be contributing to the next 4 phases of this project. It's now my pleasure to introduce Mr. Harvey Hollins III, Director of the Governor's Office of Urban and Metropolitan Initiatives. Prior to joining the governor's staff, Director Hollins was Wayne State University's Vice President for Government and Community Affairs. He has also served as the Michigan Government Affairs Representative for the American Association of Retired Persons. Director Hollins believes that Michigan cities are Michigan's future. And when he was appointed to this position, he stated that distinctive solutions to urban challenges must be tailored to meet the local needs. And because of those solutions, he envisioned strong urban centers that attract entrepreneurial investment. The Livernois Streetscape project obviously is in line with Mr. Hollins' focus on urban areas. So please give a hearty welcome to Director Harvey Hollins III from the Governor's Office, who will say a few words about the importance of this project.
Well, thank you, Dr. Garibaldi, and to everyone's here, including the bees. They have to celebrate, too. This is a good event. It's my honor to be here representing the Governor's Office. Governor Snyder is a firm believer that the reinvention of Michigan is inextricably tied to the revitalization of Detroit. And although our state plays a major role in Detroit's revitalization, the day-to-day work really happens in the community. And that work is carried out by a plan, and that plan begins with a vision. And I commend you, Dr. Garibaldi, and also the Udmercy family for your vision and your work regarding Livernois Streetscape Enhancement Project to improve the entrance to Livernois McNichols neighborhood. Now, I know there seems to be a lot of emphasis on the economic development strategies in Midtown and downtown, but there are other anchor institutions in this great city. And when an anchor institution takes action, that action can be transformative. And this neighborhood, like many in Detroit, is what will cause this city to be a place where people want to live, work, and play. While this project is supported by MDOT grant under the leadership of Kirk Steidel, is more than just a transportation project. It's an economic development, talent attraction project. And we know that the key components of a thriving city are economic development and talent attraction, which creates density. And that density will transform this area. Again, I recognize Dr. Garibaldi for his vigorous efforts to improve the Livernois McNichols corridor because he realizes the impact of the external appearance of the neighborhood has on a student's decision to enroll at the University of Detroit Mercy. And this project will help provide a positive first impression to not only the students but the businesses who will end up coming along Livernois and in this area. Also, I want to recognize Kim Tandy for her work, her tireless work, and working in this area for the number of years she's been here on behalf of the city. I hope I didn't steal your thunder, Ike. I hope I didn't do that. Before I close, I want to also mention Kresge Foundation, the DEGC, and the City of Detroit. And there are other entities who make up the private-public partnership with the Udmercy and the state of Michigan. I know that the Michigan Economic Development Corporation is represented here in the group. And so for those other phases that are coming up, hopefully you will knock on their door and talk to Mike Finney because I'm pretty sure they'll be interested in helping out. Hint, hint, Michigan Economic Development Corporation. My office is the creation of a private-public partnership, and I've seen firsthand what these partnerships can mean to a community. As these partnerships and projects happen, they will significantly improve our competitiveness and attract more people to Detroit and Michigan. And I'm sure that the next speaker, Deputy Mayor Ike McKinnon, will elaborate on this importance in the project to the city of Detroit. So again, on behalf of Governor Rick Snyder and the state of Michigan, we're pleased to support this effort and keep it going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hollins. And now it's my pleasure to introduce one of our own as a University of Detroit Mercy faculty member, former Director of Public Safety of the University of Detroit Mercy, and now today as the Deputy Mayor. So I kind of lose track of titles, and I just call him Dr. Deputy Mayor Ike McKinnon. Dr. McKinnon.
Oh, God. Thank you, Dr. Garibaldi. It's good to be home. It really is. It truly is. I should say this, that I grew up a block and a half from here. And in those years that I lived in this area, it was a great, great area with so many trees. And I used to sneak into the buildings here and say, one day I'm going to attend this university. And that was in the 50s. And I watched my street, my school, as things changed. And now to see what's happening. And so I use this slogan, if you build it, they will come. And so we're building so many things here, in particular on this boulevard. Building it so that people can see that there's this change that's in the city. You think about this. As Dr. Garibaldi said, as people they come off the Lodge or they come off 8 Mile, the things that they see you don't want them to see. I can recall when we had the Super Bowl here a few years ago, they built these facades downtown to give the impression that things were better than they were. We don't want that. We want the reality. The reality is that what's being built here, what we'll see, the good things. Let me go back. In the audience today is Miss Zelene Richards, who was my 4th and 5th grade teacher. And she is 39 years old. I don't know how that can be because I'm 38. But there's so many things that are going on in the city that are changing. And these 9 months that I've been a part of the Duggan administration, I'm so happy to have been an active partner in this. But I miss my university. I miss my school. And in the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. But there are things that we have to do. And this is one of those projects, certainly, that was started as we made this move to the Michigan Department of Transportation and through the city. And things will continue to grow. And as we watch those things grow and we beautify the city, and certainly we make the city safer. And let me tell you this story. The mayor and I were at this function the first month that he was in office. I recall that this young man who was, I think he was 16 years old, he said to the mayor, "Mr. Mayor, there's no place for us to go and recreate. All the recreational centers are closed. There's no parks as such." He said, "Is there anything you can do to help me?" So the mayor turned to me and he said, "Ike, as Dr. Garibaldi does to the subordinates," he said, "that's your responsibility." And so what we did was we went out to these areas and we got people to volunteer to cut grass, to clean up the parks. We have some 300 and some parks in the city. And making that difference, those kids who had no place to recreate, no place to go, now they can go and do these things and have a good place to enjoy themselves. We know that between 3 and 6 p.m. is the most violent time for young people. Having kids with a place to go and do things that they weren't able to do before, it makes a big difference for them. And that's just, as our partner says here, we know that there are things that we're trying to make a difference with. So we'll continue to do what we're doing and make a difference in our city. Thank you so much.
And we also call Dr. McKinnon chief, so for as many years as the police chief of the city. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Malik Goodwin, who is Vice President at the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation. You've heard me talk about how instrumental the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation was in putting together the proposal and helping us to amass the funds that we needed to meet the matching grant for this particular grant. And so it's now my pleasure to bring up Mr. Goodwin to talk a little bit about the DEGC's contribution here.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Dr. Garibaldi mentioned, I'm a vice president at DEGC, but I am in the official capacity of being Michael Forsyth's spokesperson this afternoon. So with the Growth Corporation, we recognize the potential for revitalizing this area, and we participated in a national planning project, which was really fostered through community input and also the ULI. Along with the mayor's office at that time and other collaborators, focused on this Livernois Avenue corridor. And this groundbreaking represents a result from much of that planning. It also demonstrates how we are trying to listen to businesses, residents, and other stakeholders in every neighborhood. The economic development needs and the potential of every neighborhood are slightly different from area to area in the city, but in this district, an attractive streetscape was something that folks said was really important for the retail and academic stakeholders as well as residents. We'd like to let you know that we've been a part of a program called Revolve, and we see that program actually growing and thriving not only along Livernois but other retail corridors all over the city. One of the great success stories here is actually here. It's Good Cakes and Bakes. and that actually might be a good place for folks to stop for a sweet treat after you leave. We're pleased to be working with the University of Detroit Mercy. It's Detroit Collaborative Design Center, University Commons, Mary Grove College, business owners, D-Hive, Hatch Detroit, and others. And so I just wanted to leave you with that message, and we look forward to working with you and more to come. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Goodwin. Now it's my pleasure to bring up to the podium a representative from the Kresge Foundation, a senior program officer, Wendy Lewis Jackson. When I talk about the fact that there are a lot of people who are behind the scenes that are allowing us to do some of the things that we're doing, the Kresge Foundation has helped us in so many ways. It supports very strongly our Detroit Collaborative Design Center and many other things around the university. And this project certainly could not have happened without the support of Kresge. And Wendy has really been front and center on anything that we needed. So, Wendy, if you would say a few words. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's truly an honor, and thank you for having us. It wasn't too difficult when Dr. Garibaldi calls. He is a force of nature, and and this was a wonderful project, and we were very happy to be able to not only invest but partner with such great organizations as the Detroit Economic Growth Corporation, MDOT, U of D Mercy, and many of you in the audience who are working on behalf of this neighborhood every day. The Kresge Foundation, we're a national foundation, and we do have deep roots in Detroit. It is our hometown. We were founded here in 1924, and since then, we have provided continuous support to a number of different organizations, nonprofit organizations, and community initiatives. In recent years, we have taken a much more proactive approach. We're really trying to invest in bold ideas to transform our city. And this project today is just one example of a wonderful way to bring back a vital neighborhood here in the city of Detroit, and really to seek and work with others who are really trying to focus on making the city a place of opportunity. So on behalf of the foundation, it is truly my pleasure to be here this morning to be a part of this event, and it's actually afternoon, sorry. The sun is shining so bright, but it's truly my honor to be here this afternoon, and I look forward to seeing the finished project in a couple months.
Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Vince Ranger, who is the Detroit contact for the Michigan Department of Transportation. And obviously, as you heard earlier, a very, very important part of this project, $975,000, is being contributed through MDOT for this particular initiative. And Mr. Ranger is going to speak on behalf of MDOT.
I'm very happy to be here today. As Dr. Garibaldi mentioned, this project's kind of been in the planning stages for 3 years, but I was thinking about how long ago I've heard about this project. I've had this particular job at MDOT for about the last 10 years, and shortly after I started 10 years ago in this position, I actually met with staff from the University of Detroit Mercy to talk about a streetscape project that included the construction of the medians that weren't in existence at that time. It was 10 years ago. It's amazing. And then shortly after the medians were constructed, using some other federal funds, I got a call from Jose Abraham, who's here today from the Detroit Department of Public Works. It said, we're looking to do some enhancements to the median. We'd like to do some landscaping and some other pedestrian-friendly elements. And here we are 8 years later, and we're finally at the groundbreaking. And it's amazing sometimes how long these projects take to come to fruition, but it's great to be here today and celebrate this. I do work for the Michigan Department of Transportation, and I work with grant programs, and I work with various communities throughout Southeast Michigan. And I usually have a fairly small part in these projects, but I guess it's kind of an important part because I'm working with the communities to try and access the funds that make these types of projects happen. And in this particular project, we're very excited because As somebody who grew up in the Detroit area, I'm very much aware of what Livernois has always meant to the city and, and the history of Livernois. So we're excited to be a part of this project to create a Livernois that's going to be more pedestrian friendly, going to be accessible to folks, allow people to walk amongst the shops, and it's going to look beautiful once this project is complete and all the landscaping is done. So we're very pleased to be here today and look forward to seeing the shovels actually go in the dirt and getting this project started.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce one of our local business members, Mr. Don Studvent, who is not only the owner of 1917 American Bistro, which I assume that many people around here have already visited and tasted from his works, but he's also very, very active with the Livernois Business Association, and we asked him if he would come and speak and say a few words about what this is going to mean for his business. Mr. Studvent.
Good afternoon, everyone. You know, my attorney always tells me to watch what I say and do in public. You know, my biggest worry is making sure that I don't embarrass my wife or embarrass my mother. But as a Detroiter, born and raised, you know, this is the greatest city in the world. I've had a couple of moments where I've actually had to explain to quite a few people that are non-Detroiters to get them to understand that this is the greatest city in the world. No one does what we do as far as manufacturing, as far as international services. No one in the world does what we do. We even have more black-owned businesses in the state of Michigan than anywhere else in the country. You know, thank you. When I when I first started my involvement, my engagement with getting involved, becoming a small business owner, and starting off my business, I did a lot of time, a lot of research, and I watched a lot of other business owners over here on the Avenue. I watched people like Eric's I've Been Framed. I've been watching him for a while before I even opened up. Gentleman by the name of Mr. Rufus Bartell. I watched Mr. Bartell for at least a month closely. He didn't know that I was watching him. To see what it took to have a business over here and have it successful. And I appreciate people like them for paving the way for new business owners over here on the Avenue. We have Prime Financial. We have so many unique businesses over here on the Avenue that a lot of Southeast Michigan needs to know about. We take a lot of pride in what we do over here. And the biggest thing is that we want people to know and understand we take a lot of pride in the Avenue. We love what we do. We want everyone else to enjoy and love what we do. And we're just so appreciative of it. The bistro, I'm there practically almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we have a lot of new items that are going to be coming out, new menus that's going to be coming out. And it's just offering more and just getting people to know and understand the pride that we take in what we do over here on the Avenue. And we just want to give people options to be able to dine and enjoy and walk the Avenue. So many unique businesses that are over here on the Avenue. We have a business over here that's called Flagship Boutique. A lot of people don't know that Flagship Boutique is actually the #1 brand in selling clothing throughout the world. And we have it here on the Avenue. People need to know about those places. People need to know about Simply Casual. People need to know about the gentleman, I only know him as Mike. People come from around Metro Detroit to get their rackets strung at this guy's place. The list just goes on and on and on. and we love what's going on. We take pride in it, we welcome it, and we love it. And we just want to just keep this engine going on more and just going on and on and on. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you.
If you haven't been to 1917 American Bistro, I'm sure you will go there now. Mr. Studvan is the vice chair of the Avenue of Fashion Business Association, for your information also. We have a lot of important people here, and I just want to take a moment to mention Mr. James Wells is here, representing Wayne County Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman. So we thank him for joining us today. He's in the back with the pink tie. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the man of the moment, and the man of the moment is Mr. Tim McAllister. Mr. McAllister is a managing supervisor for W.H. Cannon Company, which is the construction company that won the grant for this particular streetscape enhancement project. And he's going to tell you a little bit about it and then describe a little bit of it on the easel. And I told him all of the important things to say, like when's it going to start, when's it going to be finished, and we'll see whether or not he can answer any of those questions for us today. So, Tim, sorry to put you on the spot. We're happy to have you.
Well, thank you, sir, for those that kind hole that you just dug me into. No, again, Tim McAllister with W.H. Cannon, we're very happy to be involved in the project. And if I could just, as I'm the last person to speak, sum up what everybody has said. And, there's obviously, this project has been in the works for a long time. You'll finally get to see it come to fruition soon, very shortly. And, you get to a point in a project where the shovel is meeting the dirt and it looks like the beginning, but obviously this isn't the beginning. And myself being able to be a part of today's event, I get to see how many people have been involved and how long this really truly has been in the works. And I know as a company we're humbled, we're honored to be a part of it, to be included with state leaders, local leaders, community leaders, educators, foundations, all of you people that have made it possible for us to be a part of this. So thank you all. That we get to be a part and that we get to contribute to this beautification. So we'll be starting shortly. The project is slated to end later this fall for phase 1. Phases 2, 3, and 4 are yet to come. So we're focused on phase 1. We're excited to get started. We're excited for this to be a smooth process, to work with all those leaders, educators, and community members. So at this time, we're going to put that shovel to the ground, and if I could ask all the dignitaries to please step out into the median, and we'll set things off right now. Thank you.